welcome to week 4. Can you believe we're already here? It's kind of crazy how big our shawl is getting. I am loving all your pictures. Thank you so much for posting in the Marley's Minions Facebook group. I just love them. So this week, play 4. We have some unusual stitches, and it's across the board. So it doesn't matter what you're doing, if it's Netflix and Chill all the way to Tunisian, we got some unusual lace stitches. If you've taken one of my unusual lace stitches classes, you might recognize a few of these techniques. But more than likely, you'll notice that I love going in interesting and odd directions because there's so many places that we can go in crochet and in Tunisian crochet. So I really hope you go check out all of the different versions because they're all really interesting and cool. And I am just so excited to get crocheting. I hope you are too. This week is going to be a lot of fun. So with that, make sure you have your hook. Make sure you have your yarn, your pattern nearby, and come join me. We're going to go get started at the table, and I can't wait to see you there. All right, see you in a second. All right, play 4, Netflix and Chill. Here we are. This week in our unusual lace quest, we have these adorable little fleur-de-lis that are made up of chains and slip stitches. Not hard to do. And this treble 2 together. So all of this whole thing is done in one. This like little mushroom cloud tree. You have your decrease and all of these chains all done in one stitch. The rest of it is, as you can see, double crochets and some double crochets and chains. That part, not hard. So it's learning this one guy and you're on your way. You are raring to go. So let's take a look at the stitch diagram. Of course, so that we can see what we have going on this week. For this week, as always, I like to take a look at what our stitches are. And everything, all of this, that's all repeat. You've already done that. That's just repeat. Okay, so the only new stitch to learn is the treble 2 together, which is pretty much the same as a double 2 together. It's just with an extra loop on your hook. So not hard. And what I was saying is when you're looking at these stitches, all of this is the same. It's all done in the same row. I know it's like a 2 part. It's like 2 heights. It's like a double height, which makes it kind of the fun thing. But all of this is together. One other thing to notice is that these are on black and these are in blue. That means that these will be on your right side and some of them will be on your wrong side. So if they look a little different, it's because you're looking at them from the back, and that's on purpose. That's the way that the lace pattern lays out. But you can see it's really just learning that. If you look at all of the rest, it is more of just keeping track of where you are. So basically, once you make these big, beautiful stitches, you come back and let's get another color. You're going to box them in so they look like they have like a little window frame around them. That's just double crochet, chain 2, single crochet, double crochet, chain 2, single double crochet. So this just box out those beautiful stitches. On top, you just have a whole bunch of double crochet. So inside of the pattern, nothing that you haven't tackled before. The outside, though, how you're going to start your row and end your row, you'll notice that. So if we start our row 5, that looks exactly like a row 3 or a row 1. You got 3 stitches going into 1. Okay, that's not hard. And look, that's the way that they all start. All your odd rows start the same way. So that's easy to remember and kind of have in your memory bank. No problem. How about ending? The way we end does change a little bit. So when you're on your odd side rows, you have a double crochet 3 together, a double crochet 3 together, but sometimes we have a double crochet 2 together. It's just to keep us in this pattern, because this pattern doesn't increase and decrease the way we want it. Basically, we decrease 2 stitches at the end and increase 2 at the beginning. And ours is made up of a different amount of repeats. So we have to kind of balance that out. So here's where you're going to need to pay attention. You're going to want to mark off and pay attention to where you are in the pattern, like what row you're on. I find it easiest to print out the diagram and follow along while I'm doing it personally. But the other ways you can do it is you put a stitch marker. So do a different color stitch marker for each one, not obviously down here or up here. You know how to do that already. But for each of these rows, so then if you put it down, you can be like, oh, real quick, you can see, oh, I'm on, a row 5 or I'm on a row 7, because these will repeat to get you to as much as you want. Doing the actual stitches, not hard. If you look at the way that the even rows increase, we have just a chain 2 and a double crochet. Here we have our typical chain 2, double crochet 2 togethers. Again, not hard, but they don't always do that. Sometimes it's this chain 2, double crochet. Sometimes it's the chain 2, double crochet 2 together. So it's keeping track of where you are, but everything inside repeats. It's just a little bit different of how you're going to deal with the decreases. The increases over here, you're going to start to memorize these real quick, because it's just essentially 3 stitches in the first stitch. Your turning chain counts as a stitch, and then 2 double crochets into your stitch. I'm not concerned about how you guys are going to do that. I know you'll be able to get there. It's just, again, keeping track of where you are in the stitch pattern. And like I said, I like to put little stitch markers at the beginning of my rows once I get into the repeat. And what is the repeat? If you look in your pattern, when you get to, you read, and then it'll say rows, repeat rows 6 through, that's your repeat. So those are the ones that are going to repeat every time. I believe for us in this stitch pattern, they start repeating on 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I believe this is your repeat, 5 through 10. So for me, I would pick out a different color for each one of those, so then I know where I am. And it just kind of keeps track so my eyeballs can see it. I also, how I did it with this is I highlight them. So like if something's different, so I wouldn't highlight the same ones. I would make each one of these a different color, just so I can kind of pay attention to where I'm going and how I'm getting there. Now, that was a lot, but I want you to feel comfortable that even though we have lots of different stitches, you've done these. You got these. So this is why we feel that we can kick it up and do our unusual stitch there. So really the meat and potatoes this week is learning how to do this stitch. So let's get into it. Just like before, we'll pretend that I've cut this little section off of my video swatch, and now we're just working on this. So I'll move this to the side. I'm going to move our diagram up. I'm going to show you how to do row 5, and then I'm going to let you go because you got the rest of this. So like I said, row 5 starts with our increase. Same as what you've been used to. We chain 3. I didn't like how that split. Let's do that last one again. Chain 3. Now we're going to put 2 double crochets into the first stitch. So that increased 2 stitches for us, which we're used to doing. Then we do a double crochet in the next double crochet. And now we get into the fun part. To start these all off, you chain 2. Now we're going to do our treble 2 together. Yarn over twice. Insert your hook into the next stitch. Yarn over, pull up a loop. So you got 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. Pause. We got our nice, beautiful, long leg there. Great. Now, yarn over twice. You will go ahead and you're going to skip 1, 2, 3 stitches. Skip all of these stitches and insert your hook into the next stitch. So yarn over, pull up a loop. Now we have 5 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. When you have 3 loops on your hook, you can see you have 2 legs. We're going to yarn over, pull through all 3 of those. So that made our treble 2 together. You can see our nice little V, our nice little mountain, our upside down V. Okay, now it's chain 3 and slip stitches. So this is where you have options. I'm going to show you where I put them. It's like basically making 3 picots. I'm going to show you where I always put mine, but you can put yours anywhere you like. So let me show you where I like to stick my hook. I'm going to chain 3. And now when I go back and do my first slip stitch, I'm going to go into, this is the front loop, and then the loop directly below it, the strand. I always like to go through 2 strands. So yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through my loop on my hook. That made my slip stitch. All right, now it's a chain 4. And I slip stitch again. This time, I like to go into the front loop of my slip stitch that I just made, and it'd be the front loop of my treble 2 together. Yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through my loop on my hook. Now, last one, chain 3. This time, I like to go into the front loop of my slip stitch I just made, and I go into a vertical strand of my yarn of my treble 2 together. So this is my treble 2 together. This is one of the vertical strands. So I have it through the front loop of my previous slip stitch and a vertical strand. Pull through and pull through that one. Then chain 2. Now, the reason I like to do it is because when you're done, it makes it sit up nice and tall. But it doesn't always do that for everyone. The goal is to get it to sit up nice and tall like we have shown. But this doesn't always happen for you, okay? So you may need to play with where you stick your hook. So let's look at some other places that you could stick your hook in the next one. So let's do the next one. Double crochet in the next stitch. And now we get to go ahead and do the next beautiful fleur-de-lis. Okay. Yarn over twice. Insert your hook into the next double crochet. Pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over twice. Skip 1, 2, 3. Insert your hook into the next stitch. Pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. This is making your treble 2 together. Yarn over, pull through those 3. All right, now we get into the fun. Let's take a look. Chain 3. Where I like to insert my hook is through, this is the front loop of the stitch I just made, the front loop of the treble 2 together, and a horizontal strand right underneath it. Yarn over, pull through my loop on my hook. Now, doing it again. Now we chain 4. I like to insert my hook into the front vertical strand of the slip stitch. So let's pull that out. This is what I just made. This one is your slip stitch. This one is the top of your treble 2 together. So I like to go into the front loop of my slip stitch and the front loop of my treble 2 together. Those are the 2 strands I like to go into. You can go into any 2 strands. These are the ones I like to go into. Now, chain 3. I like to go into, this is my slip stitch I just made, so I like to go into that loop. But now you can go into any loop. I do suggest that you go into one of these vertical strands down here. If you keep going up above, like if you went into these 2 horizontal strands up here and then chain 2, you can see that it's going to sit way off to the side. That is not where you want it to sit. It's not sitting nice and tall. That's why instead, let me pull that out. I like to grab my slip stitch and any one of these vertical strands. If you're noticing that it's going way too far over, you can grab the vertical strand from this side of the post. It doesn't have to be from this side of the post. It could be a strand from over here to make it essentially suck all the way over and get nice and centered for you. So the difference between these two, everything was the same. The main difference was that this one I pulled from a vertical strand on this leg of my decrease, and in this one I pulled from a vertical strand of this leg of my decrease. All right, basically you can stick it anywhere you want so that you get them to be nice and on top of each other. Let me go through the whole thing one more time and then I'll let you go. Do a double crochet in the next one. So let's do our treble 2 together. I yarned over twice, yarn over, pull through 2, that's my first leg, skip 3, go in the next one, yarn over, pull through 3. Okay, now I'm ready for my first chain 3. For me, I like to go into these first 2 horizontal loops to insert my slip stitch. Chain 4. I could go back into these 2 horizontal loops if I want for my next one. Before I was going into the slip stitch and the one directly below, but there's no reason that you couldn't choose those 2 again. Chain 3. But now, if you want to keep going into this, that's fine, but make sure the whole key is that you got to grab a vertical strand. Otherwise, it's going to keep growing off to the side. Chain 2. And so even that, the whole key is getting it in one of your vertical strands of your leg. And that's how you'll get them to sit nice and on top of all of your work. All right. The rest of this I know you have. I won't, bore you by going through the rest of the pattern. I know you have the rest. It's really building on what you've already done. It's just getting this guy to stand on top. And don't worry if it doesn't look perfect. This is just for practice and to have fun. I'm sure whatever you are creating is going to look beautiful. Trust in yourself. It'll look great. So with your slip stitches here, with your chart, you are all set. All right. Have at it. So what'd you think? Hopefully you're going to have a great time this week. Well, let's put it this way. I know you're going to have a great time with this week. There are just a few little things to keep in mind. As always, something new to learn. But when you're done, this time you need to fasten off. So we will stop continuing on our little, play 2, 3, and 4 have all been kind of growing. Now you're going to fasten off and, without giving too much away, go in a different direction for play 5. So have a wonderful week. I cannot wait to see you for play 5, our last play, Kind of Crazy. All right, enjoy, have a wonderful time, and I'll see you soon.